free to give us a call. And also, we'll share our personal contact information via the comment box. And in the comment section, you will also be able to access the PDF for this presentation. That way you have access to it and you can go back to the links and the information presented. All right. And of course, I'm having trouble. There you go. So I first want to start off by talking about your privacy, because I know that's really important, especially as you are filling out paperwork. You're now going to be asked to talk a little bit about your residency status. I want to reassure you that as a student here at San Jose State, you are protected under what's called FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And essentially, the FERPA, what it does, it really protects your personal records. Any information that you share with us is solely for educational purposes, so that information stays with us. So any records or any information, any outside agencies that are coming to us, if they're looking for information about you as a student, we cannot provide them anything. We can't even acknowledge if you're a student without your consent. So I want to reassure you that we are committed to protecting your privacy, and I will encourage you to check out the registrar's website for FERPA to read more about it. That way you can be empowered with the tools that you need to be able to best advocate for yourself if you ever feel like your privacy has been violated. So one of the things I also want to emphasize is that as a campus, we are committed to all of our undocumented students, regardless of immigration status. We know that at the moment we are, waiting to hear what's going to happen with DACA and at the Supreme Court level, but we also recognize that there are many other students who have never qualified for DACA due to just the imperfection of the program. But even now that DACA has been rescinded, we've seen a graduating class of high school seniors that are not benefiting from this program. So we're committed as a campus to work with our students and to work as an institution to be able to provide our students with equitable resources. So as you are navigating the process and you're reaching out to offices, just know that we have allies across campus. We've personally collected a list of names from the participants that have participated in our Undocu Ally training. And you can find the link here. It's our SJSU Undocu Ally Network. These are just a few of so many other allies across campus. So if you ever have any questions, or if you ever feel like, okay, who can I talk to that may understand my situation or may know how to direct me to resources, check out our Undocu Ally Network. And you can also talk to us and ask us, who can I talk to? And we can always do that warm handoff to make sure that you are getting the support that you need in this transition. So you're hearing the term UndocuSpartans, and so for us, UndocuSpartans are students who are undocumented, and we want to acknowledge that our students are that student population is among us, right? And our students really come from various backgrounds, various nationalities. They have different identities. And we recognize that as an institution and as a program, we are continuously tailoring resources for all of our different students, regardless of their background. So if you ever have any questions about how we can provide resources for you, regardless of language and identity, we can definitely work with you to help identify that, or to see what can we do to better uplift those narratives within our community. All right, so because we have 30 minutes, I'm kind of going through it fast, but I want to start off with the concept of paying for college. So oftentimes students, especially now, have a lot of misinformation about DACA being an instrument for you to be able to qualify for in-situation, which is absolutely not true. So in California, we have a series of policies such as AB 540, SB 68, and AB 2000 that allow certain students to be able to qualify for in-state tuition. So folks who are U.S. citizens, permanent residents, students who are undocumented, TNU visa holders, if you meet the requirements, you can qualify for in-state tuition. So what are some of those requirements? So there are various ways that you can go about it. So the most common one, which is AB 540, just asks for about 3 years of high school, have graduated from a California high school or obtained a GED. Um, AB 2000 and SB 68 has expanded that definition to also include students to use K through 12 education here in California, or if you went to an adult school or and attended a community college, you can also use a combination of those 3 years to be able to meet the in-state tuition eligibility. Um, what I would recommend for students who may have questions about whether or not they meet that requirement, or if they have any concerns that they're not going to be able to meet it, I would suggest to connect with us. There are ways that students can appeal, and there are typically what happens is that when a student gets denied in-state tuition due to the not meeting the requirements or due to an error, we have to work together to create an appeal letter. And in that appeal letter, what we can do is really explain where did the mistake happen, and how, and also to provide folks with sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. So for the in-state tuition residency appeal, we want to make sure that we are providing a case where we can demonstrate that there was a significant error being made, whether by the campus or through your transcripts. That way we can correct that. And for that, I offer my support in this, and I can work with you one-on-one to help create that letter if that were to be your case. But typically, what happens is that if you know already that you may not qualify for it, let's talk before you submit anything, including the in-state tuition exemption form. That way we can do an assessment of what can be the best route for you. But other than that, students, let me backtrack a little bit. Students can access the AB 540 affidavit through the registrar webpage, and there's a breakdown and FAQ in that page for you to follow. And so if there's any complication, not any complication, sorry, if there's any confusion around whether or not you meet the requirements, just reach out to us. All right, so do folks have any questions? I'll stop there for now.
We did have one question, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
A student asked, as someone who identifies as DACA, do they qualify for any kind of loan that would be able to pay for tuition and housing?
Yes, and I can talk a little bit more about financial aid and how that works, and particularly with the California Dream Loan.
And we did have another question, which is, when is the AB 540 determination date?
Typically, it really depends on when you submit it. So typically, it's about 2 to 4 weeks. At least that's what I have noticed. Every process is different depending on what time of the semester you submitted it or what time in the summer. But it usually takes about 2 to 4 weeks. There is no specific deadline for the affidavit. Now, there is a deadline to establish California residency, but as a student who is undocumented, you may just submit the form at any point in the fall. But typically, you want to do it before the semester starts because you want to make sure that you get your financial aid as well. And I'll explain a little bit more about how the affidavit works in conjunction to the financial aid application. But you can submit it now if you like. The only issue would be that if you submit it now and you don't have your final transcripts to prove that you meet the qualifications, then the affidavit will not be processed. So they have to look at your official transcripts, whichever transcripts it is that you're submitting to prove your eligibility, have to be submitted first, and then the registrar will review them to match up the information on the affidavit or on the tuition exemption form. Any other questions?
There's another one that asks if transfer students that identify as DACA need to submit any forms prior to the fall of 2020.
No, and again, DACA has nothing to do with your admissions, whether it's in-state tuition eligibility or it's your California Dream Act. although there are some exceptions, and I'll talk a little bit about it in a bit. But if you know you qualify for AB 540 or SB 68, all you really need is to prove that you meet the 3-year requirement in whatever combination of high school, K through 12, or community college. Um, DACA will not have anything to do with, the California Dream Act or AB 540.
I know there's a couple about the affidavit,
Mhm.
and just asking like at what point do they have to fill it out? And I guess just in general, like you have to fill it out before you do enroll. Is that correct? Yeah.
So you can fill out the affidavit at any point, but my recommendation is fill it out in the summer.
Yeah.
And if anything, let me move forward. Maybe there's a better understanding why.
Right.
So I'll start off with the California Dream Act. So if you haven't already submitted the California Dream Act or applied for it, I would say do it now. So the priority deadline is March 2nd, as for many, many students, including FAFSA, but it doesn't mean that you can apply after the deadline. It just means that there's no guarantee that you'll get funding. Regardless, I encourage you to do it now, even if you're uncertain. If you haven't seen your financial aid packet, it could be for one or two reasons. One, financial aid, I believe, will be awarding folks this week and next week, incoming students. Two, if you have not received an award, or not an award, but an estimated award of how much money you're going to be receiving, then I would recommend that you go back to the California Dream application and contact CSAC to see if there's any internal errors with the applications, because that it tends to be very common. So once you fix those errors, then the financial aid office will be able to receive the application and therefore process your award. And that usually takes about a week to happen. So the sooner you do it, the better. Now, when it comes to the application itself, you do not need a social security number, and thus far you don't need DACA or TPS or any other type of work permit. Um, the award typically you will receive the award right before school starts, so in the month of August, and you will see your award in your portal, and I'll show you an example of what that looks like. But without your AB 540 affidavit on file having been approved, you will not receive the California Dream Act. And that tends to be, um, the financial aid advisor kind of describes it like this carrot, right, that's kind of held in front of students, unfortunately. So even if you see an award, it's not a guarantee until AB 540 is processed. So make sure that you have both of those things in place. Otherwise, contact us, and then we can troubleshoot to see what's the situation. I did include a couple of links where you can find more information around CSAC and the California Dream Act through our financial aid website. So feel free to explore them. And we will also include the phone number to CSAC in case that you need to contact them directly. And by the way, CSAC is the California Student Aid Commission. They're the ones that oversee the California Dream Act application. All right. So at San Jose State, like I mentioned, the California Dream Act is composed of the Cal Grant and as well as institutional grants. There are loans available through the California Dream Loan, but those are very limited. There's about 40 students each year that receive the loan due to the funding that's available. And the loan can be anywhere up to $4,000 on top of your financial aid, and that's for the full academic year. If you have not been offered a loan, but you're interested in one, I would say contact financial aid. In the corner, you'll find the information of Lucy Serrato Lager from our financial aid office, who is our point of contact and our liaison at the center. So she would be a great person to reach out to. If you were offered the loan and you are not comfortable taking it out, you don't have to. Really, it's an option, and it's completely understandable for folks who may feel unsure about what would be the consequences of paying it back. But if you want more information or want to make a more informed decision, contact Lucy. She would be the best person to talk to. So here I wanted to show you a couple examples of what your financial aid packet will look like through your portal. So you will be asked to accept or deny any portal. So here you can see an example one. This is a student who received a maximum award of, my goodness, it was 7,400 and something. I should have written them down. But that tends to be the maximum amount if you get a good financial aid packet. That includes the Cal Grant B subsidized grant, and it could be either the Cal Grant A or the state university grant. If you don't get that amount, typically for a student who has an estimated family contribution of $0, they would typically get what's an example 2, 5,742 for the full academic year. And in consultation with financial aid, that seems to be the amount that might be that could be awarded for this year. So there's a high chance that this will not change. So if you have any questions or concerns about, what are other additional sources of financial aid, again, going back to the California Dream Loan would be one option. And just to kind of, clarify that this amount of money, you will not be charged all of it upfront, right? So as you can see how it's being broken down in terms of awards in fall and this spring, you're only going to be charged only half of the tuition and for the full academic year each semester. There are payment plans available. So if you contact financial aid, you can work with them on doing a payment deferment or a payment plan if you need a little more time to make your payments. And then we can also work with you to create a budget if that's something that will help you out to determine what your financial gap will be and how can you fill that gap as well. This is an example of the cost of tuition and registration fees for the academic year. This was last year's tuition and fees. I believe this year will not change, but I'll follow up if they do. So as you can see, $7,796 is the cost of an undergraduate student attending full time. And again, you will not pay that cost up front. It's divided in half, half for some fall and spring. So typically your financial aid will cover most of it, if not all, if you do get the Cal Grant B subsidized grant. But if you don't, typically the gap can be somewhere around $2,000, which is the campus student fees that you see right above in that second red box. So again, we can work with you on a budget if that's something that will be helpful to you. We can break down the costs, and if you need to have a conversation with your family about what this all means for you to prepare, we're more than happy to also talk to them with your permission, of course, and go through the numbers and how the whole payment plan works. Because I know it can be very complicated, it can be very scary, as just looking at these solid numbers. All right, so questions.
I'm looking through the questions right now. I know for some students, I respond to them individually.
Can you share some of those questions in the case that the rest of the audience might have the similar?
Yeah, so you kind of answered one of them, just overall like tuition fee and unit cost. As Anna went, if you were to go back to the last one, overall the tuition and fee unit cost is dependent if you are on half-time or full-time. And then another question was about where do you apply for the DACA Cal Grant?
So that's all part of the California Dream Act. So they're not separate. So if you submit the California Dream Act, your application is going to get sent over to CSAC, and they're going to award you your Cal Grant if you do qualify. And then once that's awarded, they'll also submit it over to the university. So they will also determine whether if you didn't qualify for the Cal Grant, to see if you qualify for the state university grant. You can only qualify for one or the other, not both. But that is determined within just the California Dream Act. And then I think what I'll do is maybe I'll send all of you, in case that you don't have it, the link to the Cal Grant webpage where you can view your Cal Grant award.
Cool.
Any other questions?
For the Dream Loan, is it a first come, first served?
Not necessarily. So the Dream Loan is offered based on your, you know, your reported taxes. So it's all about who needs it the most, but not everyone that gets awarded the Dream Loan or offered the Dream Loan takes it or accepts it. So I would say, like, even if you didn't get it and you're interested in it, just email Lucy and speak with her to see if there's any possibility of you being able to receive it. Any other questions?
I do have a couple kind of regarding documentation in regards to if you would have to submit, um, how do I explain it? Elementary school, middle school, high school,
Mhm.
practically like saying like I was in California throughout K through 12, that kind of thing. A couple of questions kind of regarding the same idea.
So how to prove it?
Yeah, like documentation or just how to determine the hours and stuff like that.
Um, it's all determined in your transcript. So if you're going to be using K through 12, or like, sorry, let me rephrase that. If you're going to be using information from elementary school, middle school, and high school, um, typically the last institution that you attended should be able to access your entire K through 12 history. If that's not the case, you would need to then contact the school district that you last attended to see if they have access, if they still have all your information from K through 12. Um, in the case that you're not successful in getting any information, or wild case scenario, and this has actually happened, in case that the school loses your paperwork to prove that you actually attended K through 12 here in California, then let's talk one-on-one, and then we'll work on trying to get some of those forms or some of that documentation. But again, it's a case by case. But typically, either your district, the last district that you attended, should have access to all that information.
Great, thank you, Anna.
Mhm. Um, any other questions, Giselle?
As of right now, that's all I see.
Awesome. All right. So let me move forward. All right. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I kind of wanted to show all of you about campus housing, because I know that oftentimes folks don't know what the cost is. So we wanted to just break it down based on the type of building, the type of room, so you can kind of get a sense of what housing looks like here on campus. Now, I'm not very sure what that means for fall. So I apologize for not having that information, but I will do more research on that. And if you're interested in living on campus, or want to know how can do payment plans or whatnot, then let's have a conversation on this side, just so we can uh, determine what would be the best route for you. I also wanted to share a list of, this is just a small list of scholarships, whether it's websites or listservs. And there's so many scholarships out there available to undocumented folks, whether you have DACA, whether you qualify for AB 540 or not. I want to encourage all of you to, take some time, maybe build 3-4 hours into your week to apply to these scholarships. Um, we are more than happy to also help you out with your personal statement if you're looking for someone to review it. We're here to do that with you, because I know sometimes it is difficult for some folks to talk about their story, or know, how do I talk about myself without having to out myself. And I think that's part of a bigger conversation that we have to kind of have with ourselves about our identities and whatnot. And as an undocumented person myself, I know it can be very intimidating, just talking about yourself and trying to make a case about why you need the support. So I welcome you to reach out to us, and I also welcome you to check out these websites. one great website that I recommend is Immigrants Rising. They have scholarships and fellowships, and even for the summer, as you're thinking about how can you get involved in the community, Immigrants Rising has a lot of great fellowships and that don't require a social security number. So take a look, check them out, and hopefully you will find something that would be helpful for you, or maybe it'll motivate you to get involved more in the community. Another great resource is Dreamers Roadmap. It's that third to last link. And what's really cool about Dreamers Roadmap, it's an application you can download on your phone. It was actually developed by an SJSU alum. So check it out, and it just applies to scholarships. And another one that one of my personal favorites is My Undocumented Life, which is a blog. So it includes everything from scholarships, fellowships, and you can also get the opportunity to read of other folks who are undocumented and their experience across the country. And there's a lot of really great resources that I hope would be uh, uh, useful for all of you in some shape or form. But definitely take a look at this. And for our campus, the top two, the financial aid office has their scholarship deadline of May 1st. So there are some scholarships available for incoming students. So I would say apply now. It's just one application for a bunch of scholarships. So you really have, nothing to lose here. And then the SJSU Ernesto Galarza Scholarship is another huge one that can award students anywhere between $2,000 to $8,000. That's an essay, and I believe the application is closing up pretty soon, so check it out. And if you don't have the opportunity to apply this round, definitely apply for the following one. All right. So I'll go ahead and hand this section over to Evelyn, who'll talk a little bit more about our services and some of the things that we do at the center.
Thank you, Anna. So as a resource center, we are here to provide all of you with resources all over campus and even like in our community. So if, like I mentioned before, if you need any help with the legal services stuff, we are partnering up with the legal defense team to host consultations for those of you who have any questions. And even it doesn't really have to be like super deep and personal, but if you just want to get something out of your mind and just talk about it, you're more than welcome to use those services that we're providing. We're also here to provide you with points of contact. Sometimes it's very difficult to reach an office, and like Giselle works with the financial aid and she works closely with Lucy. So if you all need any help with that, feel free to contact. We're also here to create advocacy. There was a picture when we created the Immigrant Day of Action, and it was a super cool event. And yeah, we're just here for all of that. And more importantly, the one-to-one personal academic support. It doesn't always have to be for you to go to our office for something. If you just need to talk to someone, we're here for that as well. And yeah, and you can jump in if you have any other stuff to say.
Yeah. No, and thank you, Evelyn. I definitely want to highlight the legal services, especially right now. For those who are coming in, especially incoming freshmen, I would say make an appointment, and we will share the information with you so you can access those resources as of now to meet with an attorney. And for those who are incoming, may not have DACA, you should still definitely utilize them, because they can work with you on doing what's called an immigration intake to really do an assessment as to if you have any alternative pathways towards immigration relief. They also work with folks who maybe for example, if you have a relative who, or a sibling who is a U.S. citizen and they want to petition for your parents or whatnot, then those services are also available for them. So any question around immigration, any doubt, they're free of cost. The name of the organization is the Immigrant Legal Defense. They're legitimate lawyers, and they cover basically every aspect of immigration. So if you ever have any questions or any concerns, just let us know, and then we can connect you to the attorneys. So we'll send you that information as well via email. That way, if you have an urgent matter now, you can go ahead and request those services at no cost to you. All right.
And lastly,
so
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So once all this COVID-19 thing is over, we would like to invite all of you to join us at our office. It's located in Clark Hall, and you'll notice it. You can see the little butterflies. It's super cute. And in the time being, feel free to contact us through our email. It's provided right there, UndocuSpartan@sjsu.edu, and through the phone number that's provided there as well. You can also contact our amazing director, Ana Navarrete, which she included her information there as well. And I encourage all of you to join and follow us on the social media at UndocuSpartans, both on Instagram and Facebook, because we are super active and we like to promote a lot of stuff that goes at our campus, and as well with a bunch of resources that can help all of you.
Thank you, Evelyn. And just to clarify, so for right now, I would say contact the direct USRC phone line, the 2762, just because it's going to be the fastest way to reach to us. And we will follow up in the near future with information about whether our office is open, if you're looking to come in, or like I said, just connect with us. We're doing telecommunication, so I'm more than happy to meet with all of you either over the phone or via Zoom, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. All right, so that's the end of our presentation. So I will leave it for additional questions.
So we did have one question. Are there any on-campus jobs opportunities for undocumented students?
Yes and no. So there are opportunities. So for example, there are some stipend-based opportunities on campus for students, regardless of immigration status. So for example, AS, which is Associated Students. They're one great example of not a program, but a department that provides students who are interested in doing student leadership and student advocacy on campus. And they provided stipends, I believe, to the directors that run for those positions. So that's one way of being able to get stipends. In terms of like student employment, official student employment, unfortunately, you do have to have work authorization. But I always encourage students to look up fellowships. So these are fellowships are essentially service learning programs that require you to complete like an educational component. There might be fellowships available on campus that provide stipends or awards. Any other educational opportunities that you see, like such as research that may come with some sort of stipend, could be an alternative way of making some sort of income and still be able to develop professionally. We're hoping that in the upcoming semester, we're able to develop additional opportunities for more students to be able to access professional development opportunities that don't require a social security number or a work permit. But other than that, I encourage students to also explore options off campus. Like I had mentioned earlier, Immigrants Rising is a really great organization and a great example of an org that provides leadership development and provides stipends regardless of documentation status. There's other local organizations as well, and we typically promote that via our newsletter or via social media. So if anything, I would say contact us, because part of my tactic is also to get to know about what your interests are, right? What is your goal in terms of major? What is your career goal? Because I want to make sure that you're also accessing opportunities that will enhance your career goals and enhance your educational goals as well. Rather than just taking on any opportunity. But regardless, let's check in and let's talk. We want to get to know you and really get to know what are your goals and what are your ambitions and how can we support that. All right. Any other questions?
Just overall, if you could go back to the last slide, Anna. Just overall, everyone, I know some of you have asked what's the best point of contact. As Anna has mentioned, the 408-924-27 62 is the bus number, and please use either or email, but our best contact is our UndocuSpartan email. And overall, all the interns and Anna check that email pretty constantly. So if you do need to make an appointment, as many of you have expressed, or just overall have questions, please let us know through that email or through phone.
Yeah, and also if you don't have the chance, just know we will be outreaching to all of you at some point, especially if you fill out the interest form, we have your contact information. So we'll reach out, but if not, that's okay. Let us know when you're ready, and we'll make an appointment with you at, whenever you're available. All right. Any more questions?
We have one let me see. Okay, so it says, from their experience at De Anza, they had jefas, kind of like an office lounge area, is that it has extra help and provides other resources. Do you guys have a similar office?
Yeah, so we have the resource center. We do have a lounge available for students to come in and study. We also put together events. Sometimes they're held in the lounge, and sometimes we just hold them at a different space on campus. But we definitely do have space available. Now, the one thing that we still kind of we're working on, and we hope that in the near future we can develop this. But I think there's not a lot of student driven work in terms of like organizing on campus. There is an organization on campus which is called SACE, Student Advocates for Higher Education, but they primarily work with high school students to teach them about their rights to access higher education. And they do have a level of involvement on campus as well. But I don't believe that there is a group that is undocumented student centered by undocumented for undocumented students. Yeah, that's something that our campus still doesn't have. But we welcome students to, we want to organize. This is definitely an opportunity.
We have another one that says, does DREAM Act cover the whole school year?
The California DREAM Act, I mean, it covers fall and spring. It depends on your award. That will be really the difference of how much you would have to pay out of pocket versus, how much the award will cover.
Any other questions?
All right, if there's no more questions, that's okay. Feel free to follow up with us via email if you have any other lingering questions, or if you want to talk about your personal situation. We're here to help. So if that's it for folks, then we're gonna go ahead and call it a day. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And we are really excited to work with all of you as of now into the summer and the moment that you come in. And yeah, and so we'll keep you updated. Remember, follow us on social media. We also have a newsletter which you can access through our website. It's sjsu.edu/UndocuSpartan. And that will be another way that you can also receive information about resources and even like up-to-date information around legal cases, etc. Oh, we have one raised hand from Belen Gutierrez. Belen, are you able to type in the comment? All right. So I'm not sure if this is Belen's question. Do we call or email to make an appointment? Either one, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. All right. Okay, I just had one question. The California Dream Act grant is sort of a lottery thing. It's not a lottery. Again, it's really based on your income, how much, like what's your estimated family contribution. So it's really offered to folks that show a highest need. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. But like I said, any lingering questions, just email directly, and we'll be more than happy to answer it and work with you. All right. So thank you so much, and I will see you all in the fall. All right. Well, have a good day.